In the Nag Hammadi Desert of Egypt in 1945, a farmer made an extraordinary discovery that could forever change our understanding of the origins of the universe. It wasn't a mummy. It wasn't gold or jewels. It was a collection of ancient texts buried nearly 2,000 years ago. Among them was a book that told a story older than even Genesis. We're all familiar with the opening line of Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But what happened before that moment? Before light? Before darkness? Even before the concept of time itself? What existed? One of the texts found at Nag Hammadi, known as the Secret Book of John, paints a profoundly different picture of creation. It tells of a realm of light, beyond human comprehension. It speaks of powerful spiritual beings and a cosmic tragedy that led to the birth of the material world we now live in. But before we explore this extraordinary narrative, we must ask, why was such an important text buried in the desert? Who hid it, and why? Genesis 2:7 tells us, "The Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being." Yet the Secret Book of John presents a more complex and mysterious account of humanity's origins, one involving opposing cosmic forces, divine conspiracies, and an unsettling revelation about the true nature of humankind. What we are about to uncover challenges not only traditional understandings of Genesis, but also raises profound questions about the nature of reality, the destiny of humanity, and our relationship with the Creator. Most astonishing of all, this ancient text bears remarkable similarities to modern cosmological theories. Could it be that the truths of the past align with the discoveries of the present? Let us embark on a journey to uncover the true story of creation, a story hidden in the sands of time until now. To understand the significance of the Secret Book of John, we must go back to when the first creation story was written. Genesis, the first book of the Bible, is more than a religious text. It is the foundation of three major world religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and has shaped the beliefs of billions for thousands of years. But here's something few people realize. Genesis contains not one, but two distinct creation stories. In Genesis 1, God creates humanity in His image. So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. Genesis 1:27. Yet in Genesis 2, we encounter a different version. The Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground. Genesis 2:7. This difference is not a mistake. It's a clue that the story of creation is far more complex than we often assume. And this is where the Secret Book of John gains special significance. Let's return to Egypt in 1945. Muhammad Ali, not the famous boxer, but an Egyptian farmer, was digging near the cliffs of Jabal al-Tarif when he accidentally unearthed an ancient sealed clay jar. Inside were 13 leather-bound books, written in Coptic, the final stage of the ancient Egyptian language. This was no ordinary discovery. These books were part of a secret library, buried around 367 AD, when Bishop Athanasius ordered the destruction of all non-canonical texts. Among these writings was the Secret Book of John, also known as the Apocryphon of John. It is one of the most precious texts in this collection. What sets this book apart? It doesn't merely tell a different creation story. It unveils an entirely new cosmology. It describes a complex belief system known as Gnosticism, which challenges the traditional Judeo-Christian understanding of creation. Instead of starting with an act of creation, as in Genesis, The secret book of John begins with an even older reality, a state of existence beyond space, time, or even being itself. This ineffable realm is the origin of everything, a place where even human language fails to capture its essence. But the most shocking aspect of this text is its account of how the material world came to be. According to the secret book of John, the world we inhabit was not created directly by the ultimate divine source. Instead, it emerged from a cosmic error, a tragedy that altered the course of existence forever. This idea challenges the traditional narrative of a perfectly ordered creation by an all-knowing God. The story goes on to describe a series of emanations, spiritual beings who emerged from the divine source. Among them was Sophia, whose actions led to the creation of an imperfect being, the Demiurge. This figure, often identified with the God of the Old Testament, is portrayed not as the supreme creator, but as a flawed and ignorant ruler who shaped the material world. This interpretation redefines the relationship between humanity and the divine. In Gnostic thought, humans possess a divine spark, a fragment of the ultimate source trapped within the physical world. This spark yearns to return to its origin, a journey of awakening and enlightenment. What's truly remarkable is how this ancient narrative echoes some of today's scientific theories. Modern cosmology speaks of a universe that emerged from a singularity, a moment beyond time and space. The Gnostic idea of a reality beyond human comprehension resonates with the concept of higher dimensions or parallel realities proposed by physicists. As we piece together the fragments of the secret book of John, we see not just a different creation story, but a profound exploration of existence itself. It challenges us to rethink the origins of the universe, the nature of humanity, and our ultimate purpose. Why was this text buried? Perhaps its ideas were too radical, too dangerous for its time. Perhaps it was hidden to preserve its truths for a future generation. And now, centuries later, it has resurfaced, inviting us to ask, what if the creation story we've always known is only part of the truth? What if the answers to our deepest questions have been waiting for us all along, hidden in the sands of Egypt? The discovery of the secret book of John is not just an archaeological milestone. It's an invitation to reimagine the story of creation and our place within it. It's a reminder that the search for truth is an endless journey, one that connects the wisdom of the past with the insights of the present. Created not by the Supreme Being in a singular act of will, but instead as the result of a cosmic tragedy, a story of ambition, error, and unforeseen consequences. This raises a profound question. Why has such a story been buried for centuries? The answer lies in the turbulent early years of Christianity. During this time, fierce debates raged over which ideas and texts would define the faith. In 367 AD, Bishop Athanasius of Alexandria issued his famous 39th Festal Letter, listing the books that were deemed acceptable for the Bible and those that were not. Yet, there's something intriguing about one of the texts excluded from this canon, the secret book of John. This ancient text contains ideas that bear remarkable similarities to modern scientific theories about the universe. Concepts of a reality beyond space and time, the existence of multiple dimensions, and the intricate relationship between consciousness and matter. These ideas echo the principles of quantum physics and modern cosmology. But what's truly astonishing isn't just what this text reveals about the past, it's what it suggests about the future. If the secret book of John is correct, then everything we think we know about our origins, our place in the universe, and even the nature of reality itself must be reconsidered. And this is only the beginning. The story it tells is far more extraordinary than what most of us have ever imagined. Picture a reality beyond all limits of human understanding. A state of existence with no time, no space, not even the concept of existence itself as we perceive it. This is the starting point of the secret book of John, a beginning more ancient than the opening line of Genesis. While Genesis 1:1 states, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth," the secret book of John takes us to an even more primordial reality, one where the monad reigns supreme. But what is the monad? It is not God in the way we traditionally understand the term. The monad is the ultimate source of all existence, an entity beyond all definition, limits, and comprehension. The secret book of John describes the monad in these words: "The one cannot be perceived by anyone. No one stands before him. No one can measure him. He is beyond all measure. He is infinite. He cannot be comprehended." This description bears striking similarities to how modern physicists describe the state of the universe before the Big Bang, an infinite, undefinable source from which all things emerge. But the story doesn't end there. From the monad emerges another wondrous entity, Barbelo, described as the first thought of the monad. Barbelo is not a being in the usual sense. Instead, she represents pure consciousness, a perfect reflection of the monad in the spiritual realm. This idea is reminiscent of the concept found in the Gospel of John 1:1. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." However, in the secret book of John, the relationship is even more intricate and profound. Barbelo is described as possessing 5 divine attributes: thought, knowledge, incorruptibility, eternal life, and truth. Each of these attributes represents an aspect of pure spiritual reality, a level of existence far beyond the material world in which we live. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Barbelo is her role as the spiritual mother. While most ancient religious traditions describe creation in predominantly masculine terms, the secret book of John presents a more balanced perspective, where the feminine principle plays an equally vital role in the unfolding of existence. From the union of the monad and Barbelo, a new entity is born, Christ. Yet this is not Jesus Christ, as we commonly know him, but rather a cosmic Christ, a radiant expression of pure divine light. The appearance of Christ completes a perfect triangle of spiritual reality: monad, source; Barbelo, thought; and Christ, light. This trinity represents a harmonious and interconnected vision of the origins of existence. Unlike the singular, decisive act of creation described in Genesis, the secret book of John portrays creation as a gradual spiritual evolution, a complex, dynamic process in which consciousness expands, giving rise to new dimensions of reality. It is a vision of creation that challenges the simplicity of traditional narratives and compels us to reconsider the very fabric of existence. Yet, this harmonious world of light is not where the story ends. From this perfect spiritual realm, a cosmic tragedy begins to unfold, a chain of events that will eventually lead to the birth of the material world we now inhabit. And more importantly, it will give rise to the struggles, imperfections, and mysteries that define human life. This is the turning point, a dramatic moment when the divine balance is disrupted. What follows is not merely the story of creation, but the story of separation, conflict, and redemption. It is a narrative that speaks not only to the origins of the universe, but to the essence of the human condition. And as we dive deeper into the secrets of this ancient text, we are left with one lingering question. Could this ancient vision of creation hold the key to understanding our ultimate destiny? Before we move on to the next part of the story, let's pause for a moment to reflect. If this is the truth about the origins of reality, what does it say about our true nature, about the purpose of existence, and most importantly, about the ultimate destiny of humanity? But to understand these answers, we need to confront one of the most shocking revelations of the secret book of John, the truth about Sophia and the birth of the Demiurge, the creator of the material world. In the perfect world of light, the realm of the monad, an event occurred that changed everything. It began with a solitary act by Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. But before we delve deeper into her story, let's remember the warning from Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. This is exactly what happened with Sophia. The name Sophia, which means wisdom in Greek, belongs to one of the aeons, high spiritual entities born from the expansion of the monad. Unlike the other aeons, who always acted in perfect harmony with the monad, Sophia did something unprecedented. She sought to create something without the consent of the monad. According to the secret book of John, Sophia wanted to create an image from herself, without the approval of the spirit, without her partner, and without the knowledge of the monad. This bold, solitary act was unlike anything that had ever happened before. The result of her action was the birth of Yaldabaoth, a being described as having the form of a serpent and the face of a lion. Yaldabaoth, also known as the Demiurge, was a half-spiritual, half-material being. He possessed the power of his mother, but he lacked the perfection of the world of light. Blinded by arrogance, Yaldabaoth did not recognize his origins. He declared, "I am God, and there is no other God besides me." His words echo Isaiah 45, verse 5. "I am the Lord, and there is no other. Apart from me, there is no God." But according to the secret book of John, Yaldabaoth's claim was a tragic misunderstanding, an assertion made by an imperfect being who did not comprehend the truth. In his blindness, Yaldabaoth began creating the material world. He brought forth subordinate beings known as archons, who helped him form the sky, the earth, and all matter in the universe. But this creation was deeply flawed, a distorted reflection of the perfect world of light. Sophia, realizing the gravity of her mistake, was overcome with profound sorrow. This regret, described in the secret book of John, reverberated through the entire cosmos as a cosmic sorrow. It brings to mind Genesis 6:6, where it is written, "The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth." Yet, the story doesn't end there. While Yaldabaoth was creating the material world, something extraordinary occurred. When he looked into the waters of chaos, he saw a reflection of the perfect world of light, the monad, and the aeons. This glimpse of divine beauty set into motion a plan he could never foresee. The aeons, seeing the sorrow of Sophia and the corruption of the material world, devised a bold strategy. According to the secret book of John, they decided to use Yaldabaoth's arrogance against him. They would create a spiritual Trojan horse that would bring divine light into the material world. And this is where the story of humanity begins. It's a tale unlike anything we find in Genesis. It reveals how within each of us lies both the mark of Yaldabaoth, the flawed creator, and the divine spark from the perfect world of light. To understand this truth, the origin of humanity, and the purpose of our existence, we must delve deeper into the secret book of John. This is where we encounter the story of the creation of Adam and Eve. When we compare the secret book of John with Genesis, an extraordinary pattern emerges. These two accounts are both strikingly similar and profoundly different. It's as though we are looking at the same story through two different lenses, each revealing distinct aspects of the truth. Both accounts begin with a primordial reality. In Genesis 1:2, we read, "Now, the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters." In the secret book of John, this chaotic beginning is mirrored, but with a new dimension, a glimpse into the spiritual conflict between light and shadow. This comparison challenges us to look beyond the surface, to question what we thought we knew about our origins, and to seek the divine truth hidden within these ancient texts. The story is far from over, and the revelations to come will change everything we thought we understood about ourselves, our world, and our Creator. The secret book of John describes a primordial state known as the monad, a reality beyond all definitions and limits. Both this text and Genesis speak of the role of light in the process of creation. Genesis 1:3 states, "And God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." Similarly, in the secret book of John, the divine light emanating from the monad and barbello plays a central role in creation. Another notable similarity between the two texts is the concept of humanity being made in the image of God. Genesis 1:27 declares, "So God created mankind in his own image." The secret book of John also describes humans as being created in the image of the world of light, although the process it outlines is far more complex. However, the differences between these two texts are even more profound than their similarities. The most significant divergence lies in their portrayal of the Creator. Genesis depicts an all-powerful, perfect God. In contrast, the secret book of John introduces Yaldabaoth, an imperfect being who falsely claims to be the only God. This difference profoundly affects how the material world is understood. In Genesis 1:31, God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. But in the secret book of John, the material world is viewed as an imperfect creation, a distorted reflection of the world of light. The story of Eve also takes on completely different meanings in the two texts. In Genesis 3, the serpent is portrayed as a deceiver, leading humanity into sin. Yet, in the secret book of John, the serpent is reimagined as a messenger of divine wisdom, helping humans awaken to their true nature. Perhaps the most important difference lies in the purpose of creation itself. Genesis describes a perfect divine plan. By contrast, the secret book of John recounts a cosmic tragedy and the rescue mission of the world of light. These differences go beyond theology. They raise profound questions about the nature of reality and humanity's role in the universe. If the secret book of John is correct, then each of us carries within us a divine spark from the perfect world. The purpose of life is not to obey a creator, but to awaken and realize our true nature. This echoes Jesus' words in the Gospel of John 8:32. "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." But the truth described in the secret book of John seems deeper, more radical, and less familiar than the truths we commonly accept. As we delve further into the secret book of John, an astonishing realization emerges. The ideas in this text do not appear in isolation. Instead, they bear the imprint of many ancient civilizations, like a kaleidoscope reflecting the wisdom of different cultures. Let's begin with ancient Egypt. The concept of the monad in the secret book of John closely parallels the Egyptian god Atum. In Egyptian theology, Atum is described as the self-created god, the source of all existence, emerging from primordial chaos. This bears striking similarity to how the Secret Book of John portrays the monad. Greek philosophy also leaves a profound mark on the Secret Book of John. The concept of the aeons resonates with Plato's theory of the world of ideas, a perfect reality beyond the material world. When Plato describes the cave in the Republic, where humans perceive only the shadows of reality, it mirrors how the Secret Book of John views the material world, as a distorted reflection of the world of light. Perhaps even more striking are the parallels with the Zoroastrian tradition of ancient Persia. The battle between light and darkness, between the perfect spiritual realm and the imperfect material world, reflects the dualistic struggle between Ahura Mazda and Angra Mainyu in Zoroastrian cosmology. What's truly astonishing, however, is how these ancient ideas resonate with modern science. When the Secret Book of John speaks of a reality beyond space and time, it calls to mind Einstein's theory of relativity and the concept of space-time in modern physics. The text's description of multiple layers of reality, from the monad to the material world, bears surprising similarities to string theory and the concept of the multiverse. When physicists discuss 11 dimensions in M-theory, it's hard not to see a parallel with the layered cosmology of the Secret Book of John. Could these ancient insights, born of spiritual contemplation, hold clues to the deepest truths of the universe? As we reflect on these connections, it becomes clear that the Secret Book of John is more than a theological text. It's a bridge, a profound synthesis of ancient wisdom and modern understanding. Perhaps it is an invitation for us to explore the divine spark within, to awaken, and to embrace the deeper truths that unite the spiritual and physical worlds. Think of how the Secret Book of John describes the different layers of reality. The idea of Sophia and the creation of matter has fascinating parallels with modern physics, particularly chaos theory. When scientists speak of order emerging from chaos, it echoes the Secret Book of John's depiction of the material world's formation. But perhaps the most striking similarity lies in the concept of consciousness. The Secret Book of John speaks of a divine spark within humans, a concept reminiscent of modern research into the nature of consciousness, one of the greatest mysteries that science is still striving to understand. This raises a profound question. How could an ancient text from nearly 2,000 years ago contain ideas that align with some of the latest discoveries in science? Could it be that the ancients possessed a kind of knowledge that we are only now beginning to rediscover? And perhaps even more important, what else might we not know? What secrets remain hidden in these ancient pages, waiting to be unveiled? And most crucially, how might these revelations transform our understanding of ourselves and the universe? Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. These words of Jesus take on an entirely new dimension when viewed through the lens of the Secret Book of John. The truths revealed in this text do not simply challenge traditional views of the universe's origins. They also provoke deep questions about humanity's nature and purpose. The Secret Book of John urges us to rethink the relationship between humanity and the divine. While Genesis 3:19 states, "For dust you are, and to dust you will return," the Secret Book of John boldly declares that within each person lies a divine spark from a perfect, eternal realm. This aligns with Jesus' words in Luke 17:21. "The kingdom of God is within you." Yet this idea goes far deeper. If we truly carry within us a piece of the divine, then the goal of spiritual life is not to seek salvation from an external source. Instead, it is to awaken the light already present within us. As Jesus said, "You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:14. The secret book of John also challenges our understanding of evil and suffering. Rather than attributing these to the consequences of original sin, as in Genesis, this text suggests that suffering stems from the imperfection of the material world and humanity's ignorance of its true nature. This ancient perspective on a multi-layered reality, one that extends beyond the material world, bears striking resemblance to modern scientific theories. When physicists explore the multiverse, or hidden dimensions, they describe a vision of existence remarkably similar to what the secret book of John portrays. Could it be that these parallels are more than coincidence? Might science and ancient spiritual wisdom ultimately be two paths converging toward the same truths? Perhaps the most transformative insight from the secret book of John lies in its perspective on life's purpose. If we are not merely physical beings, but also carry a spark of the divine, then the goal of life is not merely to survive or reproduce. It is to awaken, to realize our true nature. This teaching carries profound implications for how we live, think, and connect with the world around us. In our modern age, as science and technology expand our understanding of the universe, the messages of the secret book of John grow increasingly relevant. It reminds us that knowledge is not solely acquired through external observation, but also through inward exploration. While science points us to the vastness of the cosmos, this ancient text calls us to look within, to uncover the boundless reality hidden in our very souls. Ultimately, the secret book of John is not merely a record of ancient cosmology. It is an invitation to transcend the limits of material existence, to delve deeper into the essence of who we are, and to seek the truth that liberates us. As humanity stands on the brink of groundbreaking scientific discoveries and faces unprecedented global challenges, perhaps it is time to revisit these ancient wisdoms. After all, as the secret book of John suggests, the answers to humanity's greatest questions may not be found solely in the distant stars, but also within the depths of each human soul. So, the question remains for each of us. Will we take the journey? Will we dare to seek the truth within? Because in that truth lies the freedom we've been searching for. How do we integrate ancient wisdom with modern knowledge? More importantly, how can we apply these understandings to our daily lives, not just to exist, but to truly live and grow according to our divine potential? When an Egyptian farmer accidentally unearthed ancient texts at Nag Hammadi in 1945, he could not have imagined the magnitude of his discovery. What he uncovered was not merely ancient parchment, but an entirely new perspective on the origins of the universe and humanity. Among these texts was the secret book of John, a work buried for nearly 2,000 years beneath desert sands. This text poses profound questions that even modern science continues to grapple with. Within its pages, we encounter a creation story vastly different from the one we know in Genesis. It speaks of the monad, the ultimate and indescribable source of all things. It recounts the story of Sophia, whose bold yet tragic act led to the birth of the material world. And it reveals the existence of the divine spark, hidden within every person. As Jesus said in Matthew 13:52, "Therefore every teacher of the law who has become a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like the owner of a house who brings out of his storeroom new treasures as well as old." Perhaps it is time for us to do the same, to bring together ancient wisdom and modern knowledge, creating a richer and more comprehensive understanding of our place in the universe. We live in an era where science unveils new mysteries every day, from the multiverse to hidden dimensions. In this context, the insights of the secret book of John no longer feel like ancient myths, but rather thought-provoking glimpses into the true nature of reality. But perhaps the most critical question is not, which story is true? Instead, we should ask, what do these stories mean for us today? If indeed each of us carries a divine spark, then our purpose is not simply to survive, but to awaken, to grow, to live fully in alignment with the divine potential within us. This ancient text urges us to reflect deeply. The narrative reminds us of our shared origin and inherent worth, suggesting that the answers to humanity's greatest questions may not only lie in distant stars, but also deep within our souls. It challenges us to see beyond the physical world, to recognize the spiritual journey unfolding in our lives. So, what can we take from this story? Perhaps one lesson is that wisdom, whether ancient or modern, is not meant to remain in books. It is meant to transform us, to change how we see ourselves, each other, and the world around us. Here are a few practical lessons we can draw. Recognize the spark within. No matter how ordinary we may feel, there is something divine in each of us. Treat yourself and others with this sacred understanding. Embrace both old and new. Ancient teachings and modern discoveries are not in opposition. Together, they provide a fuller picture of reality. Live with purpose. The text calls us to awaken, to live intentionally, seeking growth, wisdom, and truth in every moment. As we think about these lessons, we must also ask, how can we apply them in our everyday lives? What does it look like to live with purpose, to honor the divine spark in others, to embrace ancient and modern wisdom alike? Now, share your thoughts with us. What part of this story touched you the most? How can we incorporate these ancient understandings into modern life? Could the answers to life's greatest questions be closer than we think, hidden, not in faraway realms, but within our very souls? Remember to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next revelations about humanity's oldest mysteries. The journey of seeking truth continues, and perhaps the greatest discoveries still lie ahead.
Do you love meaningful Bible stories? Top 7 Bible Stories channel will bring you inspiration and peace every day. Don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments section. Your sharing is the motivation for us to bring more stories. Top 7 Bible Stories. Good stories, beautiful meanings.